writing. Here we go, recording in progress. Okay, I'm Nikki Stadler, probably the least experienced agent here, but I'm running the meeting and that's okay. Anyway, welcome to our special guests and all of our special guests this morning. I want to start by wishing Andrew a happy belated birthday. Yes, he's 43 years young. Good morning, Tracy's here. Yay. Fun fact, another agent asked me if I was Andrew's mom last week, and I'm only 7 years older than him. But then he forgot the same question the other night, so I don't feel as bad now. Yes. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I feel beautiful, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And Harlan is not here. I don't even think he's just had surgery. Okay, Harlan had surgery.
He's had 2 surgeries now.
Oh,
Yeah.
so okay.
Harlan and that's right.
Yes. Send him all positive. February 10th. That is
Ryan froze.
Ryan froze. Okay, we'll get him back.
Okay.
Oh, I'm frozen.
There.
At least you're good now. At least you were
All
smiling.
right. There we go.
Okay, so our first special guest is Ryan Rosas. Is that
Yes.
his
Yeah.
name? Okay. He is our designated broker for EXP, and he's going to be talking to us for about 10 minutes about all things we need to know, and a Q&A session also, correct?
Yeah. I'll open it up to Q&A as well. So, hi, can everybody hear me just fine?
Yeah.
Perfect. So, hi everyone. I am Ryan Rosas. I am the designated managing broker for EXP Realty of Northern California, which, even though it says Northern California, it's pretty much 2/3 of the state. Fresno to the top of the state belongs to me. Give you a little bit of background on the regionalization. So you guys are probably very familiar with Debbie being the designated broker, and she still is the designated broker for our legacy brokerage. As you know, EXP isn't a franchise model, right? We're a corporation, we're publicly traded. And in California, we are the largest brokerage by agent count. We're nearly at 12,000 agents in the state of California and rapidly growing. And so the Department of Real Estate, they don't really see what we do logistically on the back end to support our agents. They just see that Debbie's name is the only person there. And so they came to us and they said, you're too big, basically. And so we had to regionalize. As a result, the Department of Real Estate said that you need to break that down into a more manageable chunk. And so now we have EXP Realty of California, which is the legacy brokerage. That's not going anywhere. We have EXP Realty of Northern California, Southern California, and Greater Los Angeles. And so there are now 4 brokerages in the state of California, 4 different designated brokers, 4 different DRE numbers. And it was all done in an effort, 1, to satisfy the Department of Real Estate, but 2, we did realize that our agents really needed more geographically local support than having one broker kind of handle everything. I actually prefer to join meetings in person. So I'm sorry that I wasn't able to do that, but I'm glad that at least I could be here via Zoom. But I am your point person, right? So Debbie's still your broker. There's still 11 of us managing brokers, but I'm going to be the point person for everything Northern California so that you guys have somebody that's more centrally located to support you. So that's a little bit about the regionalization. I mean, there's a lot more that we could dive into with it, but what I really wanted to reinforce is that everything is still there for you guys. So if you're needing something signed, if you're needing broker support in the broker room, all of us managing brokers are broker associates for the other brokerages as well, so that we're still managing brokers for everywhere. So if somebody from San Diego came into the broker floor in EXP World, I can still support them, vice versa, right? So if for some reason I'm not available or I take a rare vacation, we still have others to back you up. So I'll give you guys a little bit of background about me as well. I have been a broker since, oh gosh, what year did I get my broker's license? I think 2017, I want to say it was. I might have to look that up, but so it's been a few years now. I am also in law school. So there, you can imagine being a managing broker, we skirt on practicing law pretty much every day. And I'm a perpetual student, a perpetual grower. And so I wanted to do something that would complement what I do for the agents by being able to actually provide legal advice or a better guidance. So I'm not looking to be a practicing attorney, or I'm not looking to go into a law firm. I love what I do. I want to continue what I'm doing. I just want to be able to supplement that. Sorry, something in my throat. Supplement that. So I'm halfway through, 2 years out of 4 years in law school. So although I'm not an attorney, I'm actually pretty knowledgeable with the law. And so I have a lot of agents that will come in and kind of ask for guidance and see what they can do. A lot of the times it's, your client needs to get an attorney. It's really what it boils down to. But yeah, that's a little bit about me, a little bit about the regionalization. Have you guys seen any changes at all, or have you felt any changes with either onboarding or anything with the regionalization at all? Okay. I love to hear that. We did have some pain points. I won't sugarcoat it. There were some pain points in us regionalizing, especially with onboarding, making sure that we were members of all the associations and things like that. So we wanted to make sure that I like to get direct feedback, honestly, so that if we are needing to improve something or make something a little bit of a better process, always feel free to reach out to us and let us know, or reach out to me. One of the really great things that you guys can do as well, in fact, that's part of how I got on this meeting today, right, is workplace chat. So if you guys don't use workplace chat, I encourage you to do that, because all of the managing brokers are in workplace chat. Erica reached out to me and asked if I can join the meeting. Workplace chat, you can actually call as well. So a lot of the feedback that we get from our agents is that they don't have the direct phone numbers to the brokers. We do that purposefully, guys, in all transparency. With almost 12,000 agents, if everybody had my cell phone number, I just wouldn't be able to manage it, right? But a good alternative is through workplace chat, and you can call, do video calls through it as well, all kinds of fun stuff. So if you ever need a direct broker assistance and you're unable to get into the world, which is where we are housed every day, feel free to reach out to us via workplace chat. And unless I'm doing something like this, I'll respond to you as quickly as I can, right? So that's just a little bit about me, about the regionalization. I want to kind of turn it over to you guys and just answer any questions you have, be able to give you guys any type of guidance you need.
Just kind of dumb question. Are we supposed to be updating our offers now saying EXP Realty of Northern California?
Great question. So no, you're not. So only newly onboarding agents are being routed to the new brokerages. So unless they're part of a team, because we want the agents that are coming on board a team to be with the same brokerage that their team leader is affiliated with, so that they can continue to use branch office addresses and any DBAs that are in place, because that's per license, right? That's per DRE license with the brokerage. Other than that, new agents are onboarding to the new regions, and you will continue to use the information as you've used it. The biggest thing that we are giving or seeing is all of the brokerages have eXp Realty as a DBA, right? Because that's what we use every day. But it could be that you guys are up in Chico and you happen to have maybe an agent come from Sacramento, or even another Chico agent. Let's just say another Chico agent, right? But they came on board after the regionalization. We're so used to, on the purchase agreements, doing dual agency, but it could be that it's no longer dual agency. So you just want to double check the license numbers to see which brokerage region they're affiliated with, so that it can be properly notated. Otherwise, our contracts team is going to ask you to update that separately.
I have a question. Good morning. Thanks for coming this morning. Regarding the DRE numbers, we would link that to whether it's Northern, or if we're going to just stick with the regular. Can we get some communication on the breakdown of all 4 brokerages with the DREs that we have now?
Yeah. So are you talking about on like how to contact them, or their DRE numbers, or just to make sure?
Like a cheat sheet to refer to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. Give me just a sec. Let me do it now so I don't forget. And I'm going to put it in the chat that I have with Erica here. The helpful handouts for all 4 regions. So let's see. Helpful handouts. So, and this has a ton of stuff in here. So Erica, I'm going to start putting these, and then if you just want to share them. So that's for California.
Yeah. Got it.
And then do you guys have any other questions while I'm grabbing these for you? Oh, hold on. These say restricted. Hold on. That doesn't help. I gotta, yeah. That's Northern California. And then, so like all of our DRE numbers, all of our, oops, that's not the right one. Sorry, give me a sec, guys. I gave you the wrong link on that last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Helpful. I'll get them for you. Sorry, guys. You know what? Let me follow up with you. Let me just make a note because for some reason the computer's bogging down. So I live by my to-do list, by my calendar, and my to-do list are everything for me. So helpful. And so I will get all 4 of those out to you guys so that you have the information. I'll shoot them over to Erica. Erica, the one that I just sent you, I don't even know if you have access to it. I think it's restricted, but that was the wrong one for Northern California. So I'll follow up with you guys.
And then just to piggyback on that.
What other questions do you guys have? Oh, yeah.
Even referrals the same. Right?
I'm sorry. I think I heard, are the referrals the same?
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, the referral process is the same. However, if it's a referral between, let's say, you and somebody in EXP of Northern California, I'm going to be the designated broker signing for the Northern California agent, and Debbie will be the designated signer signing for EXP Realty of California. You can still send everything to ca.sign. Just make sure that you're noting appropriately which signer is for which brokerage.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. Is there a common question that you guys get that you wish we would all do more research on? Something to make your lives easier, something we should know about?
The biggest thing that we see, that's a big question because you can imagine with almost 12,000 agents, we see a lot that comes through. Probably the biggest thing that we see or that we get asked in the broker room is around disclosures, seller disclosures, and what qualifies a seller to be exempt. So there's a lot of confusion around an exemption, in particular with trusts. So if, but it can actually go to everything, to probate and everything else. So if you have a seller that is acting, let's say, as a successor trustee, a lot of times they're going to say, okay, well, I'm exempt. And most likely they are. However, if they have occupied the property in the preceding year, they lose their exemption. So as an example, right, it's mom and dad's house and mom was in hospice care for the last, 2.5 months. And I was there with her, living with her while she was in hospice kind of thing. Now that daughter is selling the house or son is selling the house, that exemption is gone, right? Because they lived in the house, they occupied the property. So that's probably the most common thing that we see, is that an exemption is trying to be used, but it's no longer appropriate. And California law says that a seller cannot not disclose, right? So if you can't just say, I'm not going to do seller disclosures. California law specifically prohibits that. Now, again, can we force a seller to complete it? No. If a seller is going to tell us to go kick dirt, they're going to tell us to go kick dirt, right? We can't force them to do it, but we can at least attempt to have them do it. And if we're representing the buyer, we should be telling our buyer, this is the stuff that they should be completing that they're not. So you need to be aware that there could be potential issues with the property that we just don't know about because they're not answering.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anybody else have a question?
I had a quick question about the California website. I know that that was a work in progress. Is that going to be released soon, or that was just really helpful when we had that?
Yes, it is. So what happened with that is it's actually not specific to California. Those are being redone for EXP on a national level. And so that's why it's taking so long. So the immediate answer is no, they're not ready.
Okay.
And it's something that we as a broker team in California are very frustrated about. And we keep kicking it upstairs. One of the really great things, actually, I think, and you guys may or may not be aware of this, but Glenn Sanford, our founder, actually recently re-stepped back into the CEO role for Realty. And he is very, very agent centric and very, very in the mindset of start with a yes, we'll find a way to get to a yes, right? And so we think that a lot of the speed bumps that we've been hitting here over the last few months are going to be resolved relatively soon now that Glenn's back in the role. So no, I don't have the websites right now. We're anticipating very, very soon. So I appreciate your patience on that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ryan, so much
You're
for your time.
You're welcome. And I appreciate you guys letting me join. I'll send you over via chat those links that I was talking about. And if you guys need anything, just reach out to me via workplace chat. I'm happy to help.
Awesome.
Thank
All
you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.
Okay, our next special guests are Chris Cobbs and Becky Lee. And they're here with a mortgage minute, or whatever you're here for. Please flag as much as-
Slides.
Oh.
Guys, is rate for the past 30 days as of yesterday. So I kind of just wanted to show how we sometimes think in different segments of time, right? So over this last week, rates were pretty steady, and we got a really nice drop. You'll see on Friday where it really dipped, and then we lost all that improvement come Monday. The dip had to do with job reports, and there was just a major sell-off in the market that changed things, and it's also anticipatory of today's Fed meeting, and which just happened like 7 minutes ago. And Powell said probably looking at further rate increases, which we're getting to the point where I think the last year the Fed increases were already baked in to mortgage rates. Now we're getting to that point where we think we're hitting the top, and so the market's going to be a little bit more reactive as far as mortgage rates to those decisions being made. So my guess is we'll probably lose a little ground the rest of today. I haven't looked at it since I've been in here, but I wanted to follow with the next slide. This is the last 90 days since November. So there is reason to be incredibly positive, just like people ask me, when's the market going to turn? When's it going to get better? And I say, here's the deal. When we're in it, we really want it to turn like 90 degrees, but nothing ever turns 90 degrees. And in all likelihood, we get to a certain point in time, we look back and go, whoa, look where we are. When we didn't even feel the difference, right? It's like watching your kid grow. You don't see the difference, but your relative only sees them once a year. Wow, they really grew. So I think it's nice to look at these often and to know where we are relatively to where we've been, not just the last week, the last 3 months, the last 6 months, and the last year. So yeah, and as you see, when it came down in December, what comes down has to come back up, but we're on. I should have actually had it even. Well, no, I don't have to think about at this point. But we can bring these to you. Maybe I'll start sending these to you because I think it's nice to see. In this format, you've got some pricing at the top, so you know where the general vicinity is. Now, see that earlier fixed on the top left. Last Friday was in the 5. So Monday was. It was 5.99 on Friday, so it was a little aggressive yesterday. For hopefully a little retraction, and especially with this Fed meeting, kind of recommending not to lock right now. Maybe by the end of the week would be a better time. That's what I have. Becky has something different.
I just have one little thing. This is, I don't know if you guys have kind of seen any videos or whatever, but come up, but one of the things that I have kind of been talking about is if you have, what I've been talking with a lot of my buyers about is they've been sitting out watching Zillow, watching Redfin, watching whatever you guys have sent them, whatever, and saying, oh, rates, we're waiting for rates to go down, waiting for rates to go down. And they're watching this one particular house. Maybe it's a house that's been on the market for 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, whatever. But they're watching this house at 400,000, 420,000, 450, whatever the purchase price is. And they're sitting there watching this particular house, waiting, well, when the rates get down to whatever number, they've got a number in their head, whatever it is. And as they start to see, okay, well, rates are starting to go down. You know how many other people are sitting back watching that same house? When they sit that and they start to see the rates start to drop a little bit. And I've been trying to tell them, get off the fence right now, because there's 50 other people that are looking at that same house that's been on the market for 120 days, 90 days, whatever the number is. As soon as the rates start to drop, they're going to go, oh, now I can afford that house. You and 50 other people are thinking now they can afford that house. And now all of a sudden, we're going to start seeing, and I'm sure that I've kind of started to hear it on like little videos and things like little posts and whatnot, that, multiple offers. We're going to start seeing prices go back up again. Prices get skyrocketed again because those prices, when we start to see interest rates drop again, we're starting to see multiple offers, and it's going to start pushing those prices back up again. So I have really been trying to say to a lot of buyers, like, you can't possibly figure out a way to make it work right now. I'm not trying to tell you to go beyond your means. If you can figure out a way to make it work right now with rates a little bit high and, try to make it work in your budget, if you can afford it, get into the house you want right now, because down the road, you can figure out a way. We can refinance you. We can get you back in when the rates are a little bit lower. We can refinance you, get you into a better interest rate. But you're not going to get that same house that you were looking at before at 450. You're going to be, and if you do, if you look at now, okay, I'm going to pay a higher price for it, but maybe you get a lower interest rate. It's going to be the same. When you look at numbers, you're like, okay, which one's better? So, and again, if you're going to pay more for a property, pay more higher interest rates, higher property taxes, higher everything, as you push that property back up. So what's going to happen is the purchase prices are going to go back up again. It's going to happen just because of what happens with price, supply and demand. So anyway, just a thought that I keep kind of like, get in. If you like a house, get in there, get your paws in there now while, so that's what I've been trying to tell a lot of my buyers that come and talk to me about it. Yeah, I know the rates aren't fabulous. Fabulous, that's my word today. But they're not fantastic, whatever, but get in, find the house that you want, love the house, and then figure out.
And a bunch of our rates have 5 now, right? Especially with buy downs and other things. So it's a definitely different appetite for the buyers once they know that, they're not in this area like we're saying it. So they're assuming 7s still because the media is a month behind. Every time they say, oh, rates dip, I was like, that was 2 weeks ago, right? And everybody starts calling us out. So
I have a question. When you guys do, when we do a buy down to 4% or whatever, and it's good for 2 years, right? Because B of A does it like they lock it in, and that's what the rate is. So I'm just wondering. I don't know a lot of business.
yeah, there's temporary and permanent. Right? So we forever, but it's you pay a point. Again, it becomes normal again to pay a point. Where the long term is low, they pay points. I've seen people pay multiple points or doing the temporary buy down where
It's like the 2 year.
temporary buy down gets it down much lower, but I don't want you to think of that as a buy down. That's really just a subsidy, right? So if you're taking that 10 grand or 15 grand and doing a temporary buy down, the buy down isn't actually buying down the rate. You have that locked in rate, that's your locked in rate, and that buy down is being segmented by payment and just lowering your payment.
You're talking about a 3-2-1
Or the 2-1 or the 1-0. Think about that. Permanent buy down. Once I buy down that rate, I basically pay that upfront interest, and that's there forever. So if let's say today that rate is 6.2, I do a permanent buy down to 5.5, rates drop to 4.5. I kind of wasted that money. If I did a temporary buy down, that money's an escrow account. And so when rates come down, I can refinance that escrow account back to me to pay for my refinance cost or reduce the principal balance or any of that. So it's
I didn't know you could use it.
it's a temporary rate buy down. Because it's really not what it is. It's a temporary payment subsidy. We just use the rate on it to calculate how much that subsidy is going to be. But it's really, it's usually a seller credit majority of the time, right? But it's basically buying down those payments. But that money sits just like your insurance and your tax account and your mortgage statement. You see it every month. and you get it back. So it's really, when people understand it, it's like, oh, so.
You
it's-
get back
it's-
what you
it's-
pay.
it's-
You
it's
get
so-
interest back.
it's so win-win.
Yeah.
If you're, let's say you close on a house, you're all set, and then, oh, you know, so you get $10,000. Can you do a buy down at that point? Like, can you do it at any point? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
You
it's
don't
part
have
of,
any
it's part
Part
of.
of
both.
the set.
It's an- it's an part. So you have your family, for your fixed, and your family, for your fixed, one line, so it's built into the product that we're selling.
okay, so you can't do it after you close.
No. It's part of the setup.
Got it.
But then it's just, there's no way to lose with the buy down. There's no way to lose with the buy down or closing costs. The permanent buy down is always like, okay, we're taking a risk of the market improving so much that this 10 grand that you put towards your rate to be 5.25 forever. When rates get below that 5.25, maybe you wasted that buy down money. It just depends on how long it took to get there. Whereas the 10 buy down, there's zero risk. And paying closing, that's why when somebody has $10,000, it's like the 10 buy down and paying for your closing costs with that credit is the same thing. Right? You're just using the money now to save more money in your pocket. If it was my choice, I would just cover all the immediate cash as possible. But some people are really tied to that payment, right? And it's just, sometimes you have to, you always want to sell the client the best product for them financially. And every client's different, and some client is, this is what I want. Okay, here's, I'm gonna show you these 3 things. If that's what you want, that's what you.
Are there different closing cost fees for these 2 different options?
No, Sam's regular.
With FHA and VA loans right now, or the last time I've seen, they were looking like quite a lot better than conventional. What kind of changes that gap between FHA and VA and conventional, like, and how they?
We're better than conventional for the last 10 years plus. They weren't, I feel like when I first got in the industry, like 20 years ago. But they've been lower. It's just investor desire, right? What goes into this is, like, right now, our margins are so slim, it's hard for any lender, any format, any model to make any money, because the investors are saying, okay, we're gonna buy this pack of these $500 million worth of loans at 6 and something %. Well, what's the lifespan, right? They're betting on collecting interest, and you can bet the loans right now aren't gonna have a very long lifespan. Whereas there was a super high value, 2020 and 2021 were banner years, because I'm giving Nick 3%, he's probably gonna have this loan for 30 years. I'm gonna collect 100 grand of interest, and he's gonna be happy. We're gonna be happy win-win. Now it's like, we hope this loan's around for 6-7 months. So we can't pay XYZ lender very much margin, because we're probably gonna collect an average of 8 or 9 payments. So FHA, that kind of comes into play with the cost of the mortgage insurance. VA loans have always been a longer actuarial table. It's just I think the veteran, just by nature, stays in that house longer. And so it's a more valuable loan in the secondary market, so they want more, so they can offer a lower coupon rate for that price. That's probably a bad explanation, but.
Makes sense.
FHA's PMI insurance is higher versus a conventional loan. We can usually get a little bit better PMI insurance on a conventional loan. So it just kind of depends on, we just basically take the 2 loans and go, okay, depending on where their credit scores are at, that's what really drives. When I look at when I look at 2 different clients, I go, okay, if you're at a 680 credit score, and I go, okay, well, is the conventional loans PMI insurance going to be that much higher than it is to go FHA? It might just be better to stick with FHA loan. So we just kind of play with it. I think the 2 of them.
Yeah, they're also federally insured, right? So if I'm gonna buy a bundle of FHA and VA loans and they can work with as much defaults, I'm gonna get, depending on the deal, I'm gonna get 30 to 60% back of the balances of these foreclosed deals, and I'm still gonna get the house.
Right.
And resell that as an investor, as a banker, that makes perfect sense, right?
So we're going to give it better.
So we can get a better price. They want to get a better price because they want, and like for us, we get a much better margin because of that. We get a much better margin on VA FHA loans. So we talk about product mix in order to keep our conventional and jumbo prices high. We can have a fatter margin on the FHA and VA and still have a better price. So we strive to get, if we get below 10% government loans, it skews and screws up pricing for the entire company. So, but then trying to find product mixes sort of a weird art. It's not really possible. So it just depends on where you are, right? Chico's not really a big govy market. California is not a huge govy market. Shreveport, Louisiana is a huge government market. It just depends on median incomes and what people do.
Purchase prices of homes,
Purchase prices of homes.
average price of homes. That's the other thing that drives it. What are we at, 470? Something like that, for purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
And then the other one, you guys will obviously see a lot more of these. Have you started seeing any issues with the appraisals yet? Obviously, with appraisals being backwards looking, we're now deeper into a shifting market. So the comps are now, we're starting to see issues.
No, I don't think we're gonna see issues going this direction, right? Because we're gonna see lower pricing and we're basing appraisals on pricing for the last 6 months, right? So when we do a shift, like maybe July, we get really stable and prices start ticking up. But I just don't feel like we've seen that huge drop here
I
locally,
haven't
right?
had
We're
one,
in such
I haven't
a,
had one.
And the market stuff next, and it's like there's some weird things. February, like the median price is like up a lot from January. So, what went into contract in January and is closed.
Yeah.
This is what went into contract in December and closed. We're seeing like an uptick already, probably just in response to rates, because like you said, like, as soon as the rates dropped, people were like, let's go.
problem, right? It's a giant, right now, we're seeing little micro things happening and we haven't had it.
The grant can explain a lot about it.
Okay.
It's called reconsideration. Or justify something.
Property. You said you had one appraisal.
No, I haven't had any.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't had.
Are you guys seeing? No.
No, I haven't.
No, I'm like, let's just go on now. And I'm like, I don't think it's just fine, but for the credit, which is on that. I'm like, I don't know, the appraiser might do that.
The problem might be when the market stabilizes and everybody still wants to buy down, and so they're asking sellers for 15 grand, and the sellers don't need to get it because they're getting multiple offers, and it's just kind of change the whole thing.
That's what I'm referring to when I talk about that too. It's like everything's gonna change. The buyers aren't gonna get the price. So when you get 10, 15 offers, it's not gonna.
Yes, the supply and demand is still a supply and demand. The only thing is interest rates putting this like artificial pressure on. As soon as that's lifted, we're back to where we were. So it's
I think trying to get people to buy. As a buyer, you can't negotiate your purchase price later. You can negotiate. Say, can you afford temporary for a long-term gain?
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
framing line.
Exactly.
I like that a lot better than date the rate.
Yeah.
Really. One last thing on rates, I hear stuff all the time, there's days like Monday, right, when rates change by 4%. And people say, oh, you're ready for lower than this guy, higher than this guy, all that, it's all so fluid. And so I got the question of the day, I thought this guy's got an average, I'm under, but I think the market was better, or they seem low. We have, how to state this. I'm always willing to do a loan for nothing. Right. And if somebody locked on a better day or this or that, especially in a market like this, it's about relationships for us. It's about gaining clients, right? Because one loan, just like one real estate transaction, creates 3 or 4 others, right? And we've been here for 20 years and we see the long play. So if you have that, weird out of town something, if it's about price, always be, I feel like sometimes people think that we'll be offended if somebody locked at a time where some lender was dipping their price, right? There's some guys that are willing to sit on their sofa and have zero support, right? Just like some realtors, you've got your Blake Andersons out there, they're willing to undercut the whole market and do, it's just different. But, I provide these guys a lot of flexibility when capturing market share in business, even if it's just, hey, I got a client who thinks they are smarter than everybody in the world. We need to give them a hot rate. It's like, okay, let's do it. Let's come in hot, start. Or we got something that's shaky, or they use this guy out of Pasadena because they're low. The guy doesn't call you back. It's like, okay, well, let's just crush them. We're all about that because the long game, we will always win with that. So just always watch it.
Great.
That's all we got.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So you're welcome to stay, or you can go, whatever you want to do. We won't be offended. Yes, no, I love it. Okay, next up, market stats with Nick and Brittany, or just Nick?
Let's Nick.
All right.
I put this in because I'd done it for the January market update. I did it on view of last year, and I won't kind of go too much into this. I'll try and keep it like the current ones, but you can see last year was like very much a tale of two halves, and the market responding to interest rates going up. We've just seen everything kind of drop off as the year went on. The biggest change that changed like the feel of the market was definitely like the median days to sell, and that was just something that went up massively. I'll go on to like the current stuff, but in terms of like the median days to sell, one of the things I've noticed with that, homes that are priced correctly are still selling. So there's 93, when I checked yesterday, there was 93 homes active on the market. Half of them had been on the market for over 90 days. Of the home, Chico, all the stats I'm going to do just for Chico. When you start going out to Butte County, you start getting a lot of unique properties that really swing the numbers, and I think it affects like the data of like what you're seeing in the market. You go up into the foothills, you're seeing properties that have been on the market for 3 years, and it just messes with the stats. Right. So always Chico with these stats. So the median days to sell. So half of the properties that have been that are active on the market have been on the market over 90 days. Of the properties that were pending, there was 35 properties pending. Only 5 of them had been on the market over 90 days. So you can see the ones that are coming on, priced correctly, are moving. And like the difference between what's active and what's pending really kind of shows that like some sellers are still not there with it yet, not willing to be realistic. So I put this in so you can take it away, and it's just something that you can kind of use to talk to sellers about the market more broadly.
Are you comfortable? I was talking to Natalie about this earlier, like if she shared this so we can share this on our social media, are you okay with that?
Yeah, you can like just use the numbers and strip off.
Okay.
My logo and stuff. This is what I send as an email with a like, I do like a little write up and send it to my people.
Nice.
So you get all of the percentages. So compare the same quarter, or you'll see this, the next one, the same month to the same from the previous year, rather than looking month over month, because all you see there is seasonality. So we want to compare, okay, what was it like last year, this same month? So the next one. Okay, so we'll go through each of these in detail. I've got the things. New listings dropped off a lot. Total listings actually up, and that's because they're sitting on the market. So total listings, that is anything that was active on the market during the month of January. So the one that's showing us inventory sitting there.
Okay.
Number of sold homes down 35%, 41 sales in January. That's not the whole picture here, and we'll get into this, but you can see median sales price down 10%. Now, people are going to look at that and they're going to think home prices are down 10%. A better indication of what an individual home is worth, dollar per square foot, we're actually up 1.6% year over year. The reason we're down on median sales price and up on median per square foot. If you look at those homes that sold, so I drew a line right down the middle with the median being around 450,000. Last year, the number of homes that sold under 450,000 was exactly the same as this year. There was around about 20 homes under 450,000 sold this year, same as last year. Last year, 40 homes over 450,000 sold. This year, 20 homes over 450,000 sold. The top part of the market, those expensive homes have been absolutely hammered. Like, you can go and look at the stats yourself, just look at what's on the market right now. Higher priced homes, they've been disproportionately affected by interest rates. So there's this like real split in the market between homes that people are either buying cash or the loan amount is relatively small versus your $800,000 million homes where 1% change in interest rates is really kind of hurting that part of the market. And then median days to sell, again, that's dropped off, but that isn't the whole picture because homes that are priced correctly still selling quickly. Don't know how to pull the stats for what a correctly priced home is, but you know, you can look at what's going on, and it's just what's happening. It's kind of anecdotal, but you can see it. Yeah, excellent. So this is the number of new listings. I've went out for the year again, seeing seasonality, but we're low by any standards for January. I think it's potentially going to change. I think people are starting to become more realistic, but January stats.
Did you see all the expired? There were like 30 something expired. I have never seen it that way.
Yeah, and it's sellers just not willing to be realistic with pricing. And I know we did that. Or if I can't sell it, I'm just going to rent it out. Hopefully, like you guys can use that stuff to try and show them, like, you know, it's not good rental either. Next slide. Yeah. Number of active listings. So we've seen this go up, particularly through last year. And again, that's just, it's not because we're getting a ton of new inventory coming onto the market. It's because what's on the market isn't priced to move and it's sitting there. Number of sales. Again, seeing that drop. If you want to go take a look, there are under 400,000 things are still moving quickly, much quicker than, but we're still seeing drop numbers overall. So I went for a longer time view on this because median sales price, this is kind of just showing, like, you've got to get the sellers to take a longer term view on this and take them back to what they paid for it, not what it was worth last January, because, you know, that seems to be the biggest issue that people are having. They're looking back 6 months, 9 months, instead of looking back a little longer. You actually see on the end there, that uptick, that's February. The February median sales prices went upwards. I think like the recent drop we've had in rates, like, I know we've been like we got super busy the last couple of weeks with people calling, people that were like waiting. I think they've seen rates come down and they're kind of ready to go again. So you got to remember, in January, the closings that we're seeing for the offers that were written in December. I think February, I think we're going to see like the much more life in the market. We're already seeing like the early signs of that coming out, but the stats obviously lag behind. But that little bump at the end is the difference between January and February on the median sales price. So hopefully things are going to be picking up again. I think and median dollars per square foot. So you'll see we're still pretty close, and this is a good one for comparing like for like homes or any individual homes value. We're not too far off the all-time highs, and we're certainly up from what, unless they're a flipper, what any of your sellers are going to pay for the property. Yeah, as I talked about, median days to sell, that's kind of going to be the case. I think when they like either expire and get out of the market, or agents start like telling the sellers what they don't want to hear, and getting them to be realistic. We're gonna just see that. But I think when you're doing like CMAs and like setting seller expectations, like showing them the days on market for the price is going to be like really powerful right now, because you can it's just such a stark contrast between homes that are priced and homes that are not.
Great stat. Such a value, right? Other clients that don't want to list or want a FSBO or don't find, value in
Yeah.
in the realtor relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. Has anyone got any kind of questions or things they want to add?
Can you do our stats every year? House?
Great. Yeah, you explain it well too.
Nick, what's your take on, you look at the average versus the median?
I normally go for the median because the average gets skewed too heavily. I sometimes look at the difference between the two. When I'm picking the stats that I send out, I go for the median because it tends to be a lot more stable.
It's a smaller sample set too, Chico.
The average like swings a lot month on month, and it doesn't really like have the same kind of trends. It's more uneven. I just noticed the median, I think it tends to stay a little more stable. So like when I'm looking back longer term, you can kind of see trends in the market better.
Because two weird homes for the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is because it's a small, it's not like we're dealing with what average like 100 sales a month, 100 homes on the market, something like that is, yeah, a lot. Well, I only do single family as well. I cut out mobiles and condos. It's just like how I choose to do the stats.
Yeah.
It's a better indication of the market.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next up, me. Okay. I'm gonna go right here. Weeds. Yes.
The wheels take it like it's weird.
Okay. Nikki Stadler. Literally. My husband Teo was for a long time, and his company sells databases to chambers of commerce and associations. So he did sales for a long time now. He's in something else within the same company, but he's been talking to me about this. He did this Sandler or Stadler, but it was Sandler training, and we tried to find the information online, but we're not sure. So it's a TP metaphor, and I'm not sure that this is appropriate to use. We couldn't figure out why you can't find it. He said it feels like it's been spread from the internet. So I apologize if this is not an appropriate metaphor, but we'll go over it and then you guys can. So anyway, one of the things they taught him about lead generation for his sales were you need to like think of your pipeline like a teepee and having 5 to 7 poles to hold up your teepee. You don't really want less than that. You don't really want more than that. Those 5 to 7 will make it super strong. And the purpose is to build your pipeline by being consistent and balanced, but not getting overwhelmed or distracted, which I have a tendency to do. And this made me think of it too, because the other day when we were doing our scripts, which you guys are all welcome to, Coffee Talk Therapy scripts, some of us newer ones are just trying to figure out, are getting overwhelmed by like all the noise out there, as Erica calls it. And so it's good to just narrow it down, focus on, because like we were saying, like you see all these people on social media doing this, doing that. And it's like, should we be doing that? And you get like, shit, like I'm not doing enough, or I'm whatever it is. So this is a visual, because I'm a visual person. It goes along with Erica's 411, 135 to just kind of think about when you're putting your lead generation together, do I have 5 to 7 and then I can stop? So like, for instance, we might have like your 5, once you guys all that you guys do first lead generation. Like social media. Door knocking. Okay. Say door, no, that's D. Door knocking. Okay. Farming. Open houses. Farming. Touch program. 33. Yeah. Touch program. Yeah. Whatever month it is. Networking events. Phone calls. And maybe social media, okay. So the idea with this, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but pretend we had a couple more, okay? Blah, blah, blah. The idea with this is that you only want 5 to 7. So if you decide like, okay, now I wasn't doing 4, but I want to do now, you need to take something else off your list. So you only have your 5 to 7. Don't ever go below it, don't ever go above it. So, and this is something to revisit, like it's a living, breathing plan for you. You know, maybe in 6 months, you're like, this is not working for me. So, okay, I'm gonna add something new, but I'm gonna take door knocking off because I just added this special thing. Does that make sense? And I think it's just a way for us to remember, like, deep breath, this is what I'm talking about. Deep breath, what you're doing is okay. I just had this conversation with Andrew yesterday. Focus on, keep your eyes on your own paper. Stop looking at what everybody else is doing because remember that we want to stay not overwhelmed and not distracted. We want to stay focused and consistent. So this is my visual. Does anybody have any questions?
No, I've seen similar about a stool.
Okay, yeah, and that's got the 3 legs. Or
Yeah,
how many
4.
legs? 4.
Or,
Yeah. So yeah, at first I thought it was 3, but anyway, do you like me?
I do.
Yeah.
That's really good.
So I just needed a visual, and I think this is good. And it just reiterates, you know how sometimes you, like I felt like this way with lending. It was like people kept talking about it, and it's like all of a sudden, well, oh, I get what that means. And so I think sometimes for me, I need something like, oh, this totally makes sense to me. If I'm gonna delete. And so anyway.
Also sticking to it for a year.
Yeah.
I would recommend at least because that's your business plan.
Right.
So just give it a year,
Well, you also-
not 6
I'm not
months.
gonna see myself. I'm gonna be.
We've got a thing like all those calls, like, oh, do you want to buy this? Do you want to take leads on referral? But do you want to do, you know, all those cold calls that we get like blown up with? We just tell them we do our business planning in November for the next year. We are not making any adjustments. So our marketing plan, you can schedule like a follow-up call with me, put it on your calendar, call me in November. And then we blow them all off at the same time in November. But or like, you know, some of the stuff does sound like if we're going to research something and look at it, we'll do it then instead of letting them like other random cold calls dictate how we run our business.
So I was told before it's 18 months before you start seeing a return. And it was like clockwork. And that's when we were doing our farming. Like we started doing. So
that's
after 18 months, yeah.
Yeah, because when Taylor and I were talking, I was like, well, maybe it's 3 years, and all of a sudden, and because things are changing all the time too, it's like, well, what happened, what was working 3 years ago is probably gonna change or evolve, and then you need to change and evolve with it. And as you get older, it's. So, awesome. Thanks.
I have the book club on here if you wanted to. I don't know if there's. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm leaving. I'm leaving the country.
Okay, so book club is,
No,
It's on hold
it's on. Okay.
yeah.
permanently.
I'm still reading the books.
Okay. Awesome.
It's not save money, but and it works.
I'm pretty sure of all the books you run.
Yeah.
Yes. Almost done with that one. There was that like accountability. I was like, Nick's gonna ask me.
All the stuff. 1,500 word book recall. Proud of that.
Okay, so save the date. Fridays at 10. We've been having a lot of fun with scripts. Like I said, it ends up being therapy and
It's been awesome. So it's
yeah, I mean, it's just nice to like talk because usually it'll get us off on a tangent because none of us are talkers at all. So anyway, so that's really fun. And Monday the 13th, right? At 1 o'clock, we'll be doing vision boards. That was part of the vision mapping, is that what they called it? Thing we watched that never gave us an opportunity to actually do our vision board. So if you want to join, you didn't have to be part of what we watched. It wasn't super helpful anyway. So we'll be helpful to each other. Sorry, was that too honest? And then Valentine's Day, why wouldn't you want to spend time doing Builders Boot Camp? The exposure process, I don't know what that's about.
So that Erica's just gonna be showing the exposure process video, and you guys can zoom in on that if you want to join and build your profit or not profit share, revenue share.
Oh, is that for like agent attraction?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
They went down a little bit, but they're still like, I think like, you know, buying with that discount, I think like when I added it up, we bought, I think like $11,000 through that agent equity program. It was like how much we put in. And then it was up to like over 18,000 between the discount and then like just the fact that we're just like constantly buying.
Okay, so also on the 14th, we have the profit and loss coaching with Erica. And then on the 16th, if people want to carpool with Becky. Okay, and Megan and Jay to Thrive Not Survive. So what I understood it to be, and maybe she can explain more, but you explain it. Do you know it?
So he's a really great trainer, and it's gonna be kind of like you can kind of role play with him on lead gen and scripts and all of that kind of stuff. So just having how to survive in this market.
Is it where we where
Thrive,
Erica spoke?
not survive.
Thrive.
Thrive in this market. What's that?
Where in Rockland?
It's at the Placer County Association.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And then anyone who wants to go, just RSVP on the Facebook invite, please, so we can arrange carpooling. We'll go to lunch afterwards, hang out with some awesome lenders and have some fun. She was like, I don't want to drive.
And then February 17th at 9, free Friday coaching call with Rick Jiha. And then on February 21st, Fairway will be hosting a lunch and learn with more information to follow, unless you have that information.
Well, we just planned it like,
Okay.
yeah. You're like,
That's
okay.
okay.
This is it.
Okay, perfect. And then we have, I do have a question.
Yes.
Does anybody know if the Orville Association of Realtors is still doing broker store, even though someone drove through their building, I think is what I read.
Yeah, it was on the last.
I think it's still off, okay. Okay, I emailed. Okay, okay. All right, and then Haves and Wants. Who wants to go first? Okay, do you want to go first, Haves and Wants? Do you have any Haves or Wants?
Here's the talking.
Want like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, half an acre to an acre with a shop.
In Orville? In Chico.
Up to,
Up to how much? 600? Ish.
Oh.
Okay, Karen?
At the moment.
You guys have anything or want anything?
Where do I start?
Yeah. Amy? Julie?
Would love a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a shop or a pool on at least an acre. 800 would be the max, in Chico or Durham.
Mine has.
Oh, you're so sorry. Are we writing these down or are we just talking? We're just talking.
This would be good information. We used to do that. Doing it, but it's good info.
It'd be good to be add a Slack channel to that. So just-
Have some lunch.
Trying to figure out Slack.
Like somebody else in
Friend who just recently bought his own plane and wants to have 10 to 20 to maybe 40 acres out in somewhere he can land his plane. That's close to town. And then I have somebody who's in the bay who's looking to go out here in the spring for next couple of months. 5 to 10 acres, kind of around the periphery of town, between 8 and 1.2. Has to have a shop because he likes going to Thunder Hill or Fountain or Bristol. Yeah, there's likes going there. Yeah, that's kind of.
There's a hangar for some of the airport, the Chico airport.
Oh,
It's on MLS commercial.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
You guys are such a good team.
I don't know.
On Peacock and it's Peacock and up in Eaton. It's a 3-2, but the garage was converted into the third bedroom and it has, you know, the AC and everything plugged in it because he's an AC guy. We're thinking around 340. They need to purchase a replacement property, so it's not on the market yet, and we're not sure when we'd like to get in contact first. So if you guys have any buyers. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Do you want
they're gonna be like SPRP, but like if someone's got something like that before it comes on the market, like they would take an offer to, you know, let them shop this.
And then they want like a 3-2 with some land.
In Orville?
Not Orville, but like you as much as they can get.
Anything else?
Yeah. Long.
No.
Okay.
See,
I have a new one in Orville that just popped up. It's actually 286, or excuse me, 2836 Myers. It's listed at 299. And there's 2 parcels, so you can do an ADU or a second living unit. The house needs a lot of love. It's older, 1900s, but it's still standing. So 299. And then I have a couple coming behind the mall. We're still working on dates, so if you have somebody, let me know. We can get you into one of them.
Is that like Sky Mountain or?
No, behind the mall off I just drew a blank, but Ridgebrook. And then what's the other subdivision to the right of it? I forgot. Something Oak.
Yeah.
What is that called?
Heritage.
Is it? Yeah. So Heritage Oaks back in the back.
I don't know.
The university.
One of them is right across from the creek, and it's gonna be about 450-ish. 2-story. Small backyard needs to be landscaped, and the other one is completely renovated, beautiful with a pool. So that would be over 6. You mean the beautiful pond where you can kayak? It's clean now. Looks good, yeah.
It's like a right neighborhood, neighbors are.
Give me some good energy here, Karen.
Shopping.
We had a couple of robberies on our premises. Yeah, cause I had somebody interested in that area and I said, I have to tell you. And.
Are we supposed to do that? Aren't they supposed to call you? We just be careful with that.
No, I know.
Kind of like
but-
steering.
Huh?
It's kind of like steering.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, it's just.
Cleaned it up. It's looking
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Because they have to give them 17 days notice.
They
Yeah,
have, they've
and
given
then
them
they go
notice,
in.
so
Yeah.
now that they've given notice and they've cleared it out, they can continue to clear it out. They don't have to give them notice again.
Okay.
Oh, that's weird.
That's supposedly how it works. Yes.
Well, one of them, probably March. And then the other one's ready, pretty much.
The pool and updated one.
That one's gonna be March
Oh, this is.
with the fixer. Yeah, that one we can get in now.
Okay, and then I have one that is coming on the market Friday, hopefully Friday. It's a 3-2 in Orville. It's on 0.68 of an acre and, has a brand new roof,
Love you, Jess.
HVAC. What's that?
Oh.
Someone talking.
That's me.
Oh, hi Lee. And she did new flooring in the kitchen. And it'll be staged tomorrow, photos on Thursday. I do have a SELM form on file, so if anyone wants to do an off market, I'm sure she would appreciate not going through the buying process. Or the showing process. It's gonna be around under 340, I believe.
It's still TV.
1351. It's really cute. It's 106 Glen Circle. And she has yeah, and you can look at last year, or she just bought it a year ago, but she needs to get out of town. And so she needs to get out of town. So but it's a great little house. It's got off the living room, has a galley kitchen, living room, bedrooms are over on the right. And then there's a room that I think was the back end of the garage that they converted. It's got a fireplace in there and a slider out to the backyard. And the backyard is huge and it's beautiful right now. It's not landscape, no, but roofs are cool. Yeah, what's that? Yes, and she also had it, I don't know that plumbed is the right word, but it's plumbed for a whole house generator. So the electricity was wired, thank you. And anyway, it's a sweet little house. It's really cute. Anyway, that'll be available under 340. We're still not sure. This has been we thought we were going on the ship a couple weeks now, so. A month ago, yes. It keeps getting
No price like 5 minutes.
yes, that will be I told her she has that right. We can do it right before. So anyway.
Lee, do you have anything?
I have a upcoming listing in Canyon Oaks that I'm going to be taking over another agent, maybe. I can't say who it is because they're expired, and then we're kind of trying to take over that listing. It is listed for $500,000. It's at the end of the far back upper east area of Canyon Oaks. It's those houses by the water tank back in there at the very end. I should find out in the next couple of days if I'm going to get it or not. So I'll keep you posted. I'm really excited about that one because it's been on the market for 90 something days. Same problem that the sellers like Brett had talked about have tried to ask for too much money for it. And so it sat and sat and sat. And so they're thinking about letting me list it for just under 500,000. I'll find out in a couple of days. That's that. Other than the 10 other listings I have in the park at that manufactured home park out by Butte Valley, that's kind of the one I've been focusing on lately. So I'll let you know.
Okay.
1,842 square feet. It's a 3-2. You drive in, and then it's kind of a long rectangular layout. It's a 2-story house, so most of it you go in, it's mostly upstairs, and there's, it's the back part of the Canyon Oaks area. Like, there's not much of a quote unquote yard space, but it's just surrounded by that whole wilderness area. So if you know anybody who wants to just quote unquote live back in there for under $500,000, it's a good deal. It's not on the golf course; it's past it.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Does anybody have any last parting words of wisdom? Your 5 TPs, 5 holes in your TP.
Nice job, Nick.
No, it's probably a reminder for me to not get overwhelmed and try and like, well, she's doing that, you're doing that. I mean, it really, because of the other day when we were talking about like, oh my God, what are we supposed to be doing? And so just focusing. Yes, which I haven't done yet. 1 through 5. I'm getting there. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me as your guest host today.